Hi, my name is Madison, and today I will be talking about the cognitive dissonance theory. This theory helps explain the discomfort people feel when their beliefs, behaviors, or opinions conflict with each other. In this presentation, I will define the theory, talk about its background, evaluate it using the 7 theory criteria, discuss what has changed, suggest improvements, and reflect on what I have learned about communication from this theory analysis. The cognitive dissonance theory was developed by Leon Festinger in 1957. He was an American psychologist who is best known for his contributions to this theory. This theory explains the psychological discomfort that people feel when they experience 2 or more conflicting beliefs, behaviors, or opinions, and these feelings are often referred to as cognitions. The theory takes a social psychological approach, which means it looks at how both internal thoughts and external influences, such as peer pressure or social expectations, affect behavior. The main goal of this theory is to explain how people try to reduce that discomfort. This is often done by people changing their beliefs or justifying their behavior. When I evaluated the cognitive dissonance theory using the 7 theory criteria, I found that it has many key strengths. First, it explains a wide range of human behavior, from everyday decisions to more complex internal conflicts. It's also straightforward and easy to understand, and it tends to apply consistently across different people. On top of that, it supports decades of research and continues to evolve, especially in fields like neuroscience and psychology. That being said, the theory does have some weaknesses. One major issue is that psychological discomfort is hard to measure, which makes parts of the theory difficult to test. It also doesn't always apply the same way across different cultures, since social norms and emotional reactions can be really different depending on where you are. So overall, while this theory is strong and still relevant, it does have a few weaknesses that affect how it is tested and applied. The cognitive dissonance theory continues to be widely used today, but since 2018 it has expanded into several new and important areas. One of the biggest changes is the rise of digital media. Researchers have applied the theory to online environments like social media and online news platforms. A study that was done by Yahya in 2020 shows that when people are exposed to conflicting information online, it can lead to the same kind of psychological discomfort described in the original theory. Another development is the use of dissonance-based interventions. This is also known as DBIs. These are used to help people make healthier or more consistent choices by intentionally creating discomfort. For example, a study that was done in 2023 by Bell and some of her colleagues showed that when people are made aware of meaningful inconsistencies between their beliefs, behaviors, or opinions, they're often motivated to reflect and make changes. In neuroscience, new research is showing how dissonance connects to the brain. A study that was done by Tandenik and others in 2021 found that damage to the frontal lobe can actually impair a person's ability to resolve dissonance. This suggests a neurological link to how people handle internal conflict. Finally, the theory is being studied in cross-cultural settings to understand how different values and cultural norms affect the way people experience and resolve dissonance. These newer additions show that the cognitive dissonance theory is still very relevant and continues to grow in today's society. While the cognitive dissonance theory is widely used, there are still ways it could be improved. One major improvement would be applying the theory to group settings, not just individuals. Most of the research so far has focused on how a single person experiences dissonance, but groups and organizations can experience it too. For example, let's imagine a company that claims to be environmentally stable, but they use non-recyclable packaging and factories that heavily pollute the air. That conflict between their values and actions can create dissonance for the organization as a whole and for the employees. Expanding the theory to include group-level dissonance could help explain things like why companies don't always follow their own mission, or why employees feel frustrated when their workplace's values and behaviors don't match. Another area for improvement is understanding what dissonance actually feels like. While the theory talks about how dissonance creates a psychological discomfort, it doesn't really explain the emotional side of it, like whether that discomfort feels more like guilt, shame, or even anxiety. If the theory explores these emotional and individual differences more deeply, it could give us a much better understanding of why people react differently to the same kinds of internal conflict. Writing this paper has helped me understand a lot more about how people experience and respond to internal conflict. I learned that when someone's beliefs, behaviors, or opinions don't align, it creates a psychological discomfort, and that discomfort plays a major role in how people make decisions. While analyzing this theory, I saw how deeply communication is connected to that internal process and how it shapes how we recognize, manage, and even justify dissonance. I also learned how this theory applies far beyond just individuals. It shows up in social media, group behavior, and even in how different cultures experience conflict. Overall, this project has helped me see how closely communication and internal thought processes are connected. It showed me that understanding what's going on inside people, especially during moments of conflict, can explain a lot about the choices they make and how they interact with others.